everyone, it's me, Nita Rose, and welcome to my channel, and this is a manga review video of Fairy Tail 100 Year Quest, Volume 20. And I have to say, it's been such a long time since I did a manga review. Mostly because I got interested in other things, watched other shows, so these reviews were put on the side for a while. And for those of you who like watching my manga reviews, I am so sorry, I wasn't trying to ghost anyone. But now that I am back, I would like to start again. And we can start it off with chapter 172 titled Sang vs. Sang Showdown and ending it with chapter 180 titled To the King Moon. So the volume starts off with the fight between Demons of Faris and the Arachon 6, along with its newest member Melody from Crime Sorcière. So the fight starts with each member taking each enemy while Urza has been told to head towards the town of Dramil. Meanwhile, at the Fire God Castle, Natsu apologizes to Misfortune for hitting her earlier. She forgives him due to Happy's respect for her, and Natsu wants to stop Ignia and asks about his location. Misfortune is not too sure where he's at, but she knows about the interaction with him and Faris. Ignia went to look for Faris by following her scent, and Natsu used his nose to track down Ignia, and it's coming from Dramil, where Urza witnessed the destruction of the town. Urza witnessed a rampage going on in town as human-dragon hybrids are fighting each other and get caught in the middle of the chaos. She sensed a strong magic from Faris and Ignia on the rooftop. The two have a small conversation until they witness Urza coming towards them, but she got interrupted by Wed, who has been dragonized, and the two clashed. Next we see Gray at the Gold Owl Guild and see Varanus. And then at the Guild del Balos, Wendy came along and sees everyone wounded on the ground after Selene went berserk. But Wendy is willing to heal everyone and swore that she would change Selene back to normal. The members are surprised by her strong will and might even have doubts, but they're not denying her either. Got me curious of how Wendy's gonna pull that off. Maybe she'll do some enchantment spells while combining her Dragon Slayer magic, but okay, I know I already know what happens because I wrote this a long time ago, but anyway, let's move on. So now there's a stare down between the two characters. And then suddenly the wood dragon god Alderon rises from the ground, much to everybody's shock, including the demon that claimed that she melted him away. But she's no longer concerned as she's amused with playing around with Angel. The other members of the Arachon 6 members are having trouble with their fight, and Racer seems to be having a more slight chance with his fight with the bird. But even so, it still isn't enough. Melody's probably having the worst with her opponent as she felt a familiar dark presence. Oh, I've seen this pattern before. The good guys will be the first one to fall, but they will get back up due to the power of friendship. But of course, that is what Fairy Tail members would do. But the members of the Arachon say might do things differently. I'm not saying they shouldn't follow this pattern to the end, but have some ways to outsmart their opponents and figure out their weakness. But in some cases, their desire to do what they need to do to win. Racer wants to run for freedom as he spent his life praying for that. But now that he has changed, he desires to run not for freedom, but to live. It's always nice to witness the change towards the character's growth. Now, despite his efforts, Racer does have some trouble with this guy. Once the black magic comes out and the others aren't doing so well either, considering that each one is going through struggles just to land a hit. But in the end, they're the ones getting smashed. Eric can't hear any voices due to his opponent dark magic being soundless, but managed to dodge one or two attacks but can't avoid it because the magic attacks without any sound. Eric's special ability is reading the mind of others, but if he can't hear the sound of the voice, it becomes useless. He is at a disadvantage here, and he needs to come up with a way to take down his opponent. Meanwhile, Midnight, who is named Macbeth, is dealing with Zero, which is a brawl between father and son. Zero seemed to get the upper hand in this duel and is about to finish off Macbeth until Natsu suddenly came out of the blue and kicked Zero in the face. Natsu is now standing in the middle of them as Macbeth wants him to leave the fight to him. Natsu gets punched by Zero, and that got Natsu all fired up as he striked back. Zero uses black magic on him, but then Natsu uses technique to bust through and attack Zero, only to be blocked by him and then annihilate him, only to turn out to be an illusion created by Macbeth giving him the chance to strike. Zero thought that Natsu was an illusion, but Macbeth corrected him and said that he was there, but he needed to head towards Ramil where Urza needs support, and Natsu agrees. Meanwhile, Urza managed to shatter the mask off of Wed, which was surprised to see who he looks like. Now with the expression she's given off, you would think it's a face she's familiar with, someone she has encountered before. Well, the face is familiar to her as she has seen it before, and that face looks like Ignia. Wed turns out to be Ignia's human dragon hybrid son. I'm sorry, but what? Why in the world would Ignia, the one who dislikes humans, would have a half-human child? What's the reason? Is there a story behind this? Did Ignia have a child with some woman to have an heir? Or maybe I'm just overthinking this. I'm sure there's an explanation, so I'll stop talking about this topic and talk about what's happening in this volume. So Urza gets annihilated by Wed as she's barely holding on. Meanwhile, Ignia and Ferris continue their small talk when suddenly Ignia sensed something and took off, leaving Ferris behind. But then this demon known as Bestia came up from behind her, claiming to be the leader of the Fire and Flame Guild. Okay, what a twist! So Ignia has a boss of his own. How intriguing. So Bestia took Ferris and transported away, while Natsu, Happy, and Misfortune were flying towards the town when they spotted Ignia coming towards their direction. Natsu took a stand to fight, but Ignia completely ignored him as he is following the mysterious power that he senses. Misfortune decided to go after Ignia since she believes he'll listen to her. She also mentioned there's a higher ranking member who has special flames that can burn everything. Misfortune advised Natsu to eat her flames to have a better chance of fighting Ignia as she knows his limits. Bestia and Ferris are within a different world as Ferris noticed that Bestia has 3 different types of magic. Next is the continuation fight between the demons and the Arashon Seis, and then Lucy does an narration on the fight, and then discuss the event of what happened to Markphobia. But then something interesting and surprising happens. Markphobia gave Lucy a key that can summon the water dragon god. I was surprised by this that I couldn't believe it. The writers gave Lucy the ability to summon a dragon. I know the idea for this was already sweet after hearing conspiracy theories and reading from fanfiction stories, but now they made it canon? That's actually kind of awesome. Lucy was also surprised by this as she claimed she could only summon celestial spirits, but Markphobia informed her with information about wizards known as summoners, the ones who have keys and get their powers from gates. That is some useful information right there. But enough about that, let's get to the fight with Grey and the gold dragon god Viranus. And here we get to see the human form of Viranus. Now before that, we never got to see his human form in the previous volume because he was killed off before that. I love that he looks like the ancient Egyptian pharaoh, which does represent his dragon form design. So anyways, Grey is struggling with this guy, but he seemed to have some tricks up his sleeve. He mentioned alchemy, which is something he experienced from a fight before. Grey attacked Viranus with everything he's got, but nothing seemed to work. Viranus is so powerful and ruthless that he's willing to turn everything into gold. Even the birds that are flying around are used as weapons. Grey seemed to be struggling more, but suddenly out of nowhere, Selene came. Which is strange because last time we saw her, she was transformed into her dragon state. Wendy and Carla end up tagging along with Selene, so we will get a Grey and Wendy tag-along fight against Viranus. Actually, the fight starts off with Selene and Viranus battling each other, but Wendy noticed that Selene isn't acting like herself and so she's willing to deal with her while Grey is going after Viranus. Wendy used a separation enchantment on Selene to get the lacrima out of her body. It's thanks to Grey's help that Wendy managed to figure out the location of the lacrima. When her and Carla was dropped by the portal, Grey mentioned that the lacrima was on Viranus' back. So that's how she got the idea that the lacrima was inside Selene's body. I do like the little tag team between these two, as it's not seen that often. And also, is Carla really that strong to destroy the lacrima that easily? I mean, from the last volume when Lucy needed to use Markphobia's body to destroy the lacrima in order to save him, she had to use him as a hammer to smash it as a giant with the help of Brandish, while Carla can destroy it that easily. Now, I'm not saying Carla is weak. She does have some good fighting skills. I'm just saying it doesn't make a lot of sense. But then again, it could be just lazy writing. Sorry, I'm not gonna go too deep into this. I thought I'd just bring it up since it was on my mind for a while after rereading this chapter. And I believe I'm done rereading this volume. So my final thoughts on this volume, even though I have been absent for a long time, and after rereading it, I have to say it's okay. I mean, they had such a build-up with the members of the Irrational Seis fighting the Demons of Ferris. But then I kinda got sidetracked with Natsu's group fighting the dragons, and also Ferris and his new character Bestia, Ignio's son, and the others still dealing with the dragon gods, and Ignio sent something and it disappeared for several chapters. There is so much going on. Overall, it was still a good volume. But what do you guys think of this volume? Do you like it? Dislike it? Please tell me in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, please leave a like, and if you want to see more, you may subscribe and hit the notification button. And I'll see you all next time.